All right, ladies, can we get our panelists to the stage? Be careful now. However, just pick a seat wherever you're comfortable. Let me make sure, grab my hand. I'm going to make sure you get up there nicely. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Come on. They got you, babe. Yep. How's everyone doing this evening? Well, this afternoon. How's everyone? Thank you for all coming for the OCTO Tech and Tea Women in Tech discussion panel. And we have our panelists here, these beautiful ladies. Give them a round of applause. And also give yourself a round of applause for coming and joining us with this discussion. My name is Kiera. I'll be the moderator for the discussion today. Uh-oh. It's all right. It's okay. That means your mic is on. You got it. I'm proud to be here today to have this discussion with women in tech, with these panelists. These are women across the district that work in technology, a male-dominated field. And what we want to know is kind of how they got introduced into the industry and how they impact in the district with technology, okay? And I want to give some brief bios because you guys are such amazing women. To my right, excuse me, I'm trying to get my papers together. All right, so to my far right, we have Juliana. Yes, give her a round of applause. Juliana, DCNet Project Manager. Juliana has more than 19 years of experience providing project management support and for customer advocacy and technical projects. Her DCNet oversight includes creating and providing training webinars for multiple products and services, a support tier 3 help desk, intake and project management and billing manager. She also routinely addresses and brings swift resolution to customers' inquiries. Her career indications also include ITIL and PM certifications. Juliana has earned her BA from the University of Maryland in Communication and Media Studies. You're awesome. Thank you. That is great to know. And she's an OCTO person. She's with OCTO. But like say that. Next we have beautiful, amazing Beulah. Okay, go back. Beulah Daniels. She is the Contract Appeals Board IT Director. Give it a round of applause. She's an IT director, y'all. IT director. Beulah leads the technology strategy and operation activities of the District of Columbia Appeals Board with major focus on digital transformation and digital optimization. Her 25 years of experience spans across diverse technology platforms and systems in a private, state, and local government. She is the former Deputy Chief Information Officer of the District of Columbia Public School and Chief Information Officer of the District of Columbia Public Works. Awesome. She has played a critical role in implementing cutting-edge technology initiatives both at the University of Maryland, College Park, and the University of Maryland, University College. Beulah earned her Bachelor in Engineering from the University of Madras in India. Awesome. Everybody give her a round of applause. Thank you, Beulah. Marina Haven. Marina Haven, the Child and Family Services Agency CIO. Let me repeat that. She's with CFSA, and she is the actual CIO. There's not a lot of women CIOs, and she is one of them, and I'm so happy that you are. Marina Haven has an experience in information technology executive, currently serving as a CIO for the DC Child and Family Services Agency. Over her 30-year plus career, she has worked in leadership. She worked in leadership roles in both in the private and public sector, serving government at all levels, including over 15 years supporting the District of Columbia implementation of a wide range of technologies and programs with a budget over $200 million. You go, girl. You go, girl. That's money. That's money right there. Marina's distinct accomplishments include leading the critical infrastructure team in support of emergency rescue recovery and efforts for the 9/11 in New York City. huge, huge, right? Marina's earned her degree from the University of Rhode Island and a CIO certificate from the George Washington University. She is a Six Sigma Green Belt, okay, and maintains her project management profession PMP certification. Round of applause, Marina. Please give her a round of applause. Awesome. And last but not least, Tanya Tharp, our OCTO web editor. Tanya has worked in the digital technology industry for over 20 years. She is currently updated to more than 140 District of Columbia websites, including a website for the mayor. That's important. She's right there. She has also been responsible for leading the broad range of digital projects and solutions for the district, for the U.S. Department of State, the U.S. Department of Defense, and a host of private agencies. Tanya has earned her bachelor's degree from Hampton University in Mass Communications and Media Studies. Awesome, you go, girl. HU. Thank you, guys. So this is our panel, and we have a few questions we want to ask, and we want to open it up. Basically understanding what attracted you into technology and what kind of geared you into this industry, which is a heavily male-dominated industry. So what attracted you to this career in technology, and like kind of what led you to this career? Anyone can speak. Anyone who has a mic, you can go.
Testing.
Mic is on.
So mine is very interesting. It's not like the traditional, but so true funny story. I remember growing up and my father would call me from the second floor and I would run downstairs to change the channel on the remote control, the channel for him through the remote control. And I would remind him the up and down, how to change the remote control. He would never remember, or he chose not to remember, at least. And so I just remembered running up and down the stairs and said, I will never fall back when it comes down to technology. I just remember that. So fast forward, as years went by, I started school I went in for something different, psychology, and then through the years, I just happened, it was timing, a matter of timing as well, where the whole digital, going into the 2000s, 2K, and the world is going to fall apart. We're gonna melt down, everything's gonna reset. And I just remember that. And I quickly changed my major and I said, I have to jump into action, I have to do something. And I remember, I don't wanna fall back in technology. Anyway, going into that, and then there was just this, I just noticed this big gap. Also growing up, having brothers, I also noticed that, and this is where, we'll get into that later, but this is where the gap in technology happens, I find, as through my research. But I remember they had, I was playing with Barbie dolls and dolls naturally, and they had video games, the Ataris and everything. I'm dating myself. But, and so I recall that, that they were doing some level of technical, they have some technical, some experience. And so for me, that was what inspired me to get into technology and to begin my path there. I had no clear indication what that looked like. I stumbled my way through. However, I somehow figured it out, but that was the beginning and the inspiring factor, so.
Amazing, amazing. Especially not knowing where your journey will lead you to, and you kind of took that leap of faith and knew and trusted your gut that this is something that you were meant to do. That's awesome. Marina, what about you?
Does this work? Yeah. Somewhat similar. I was studying geology, and you already know, I'm going to date myself. So I had the honor of bringing down our prime computer for the entire university on Christmas Eve one year because I was doing a model. And so that made me kind of really, the reason I was doing it was because I was trying to figure out, would water go uphill on a model that I was building, which it does. Water does go uphill sometimes. And so that was what I really made me interested. I could see something happen right in front of my eye, and I couldn't have done it if there wasn't technology, and I knew that the technology I had in my hand wasn't enough. So.
Awesome, awesome. Thank Yeah, round of applause on that. Tanya, do little things different. You kind of manage websites and all that great jazz. So for you, what was your journey to kind of get into where you are, and how did you get into that?
So I was mass communications major, and so I worked for public broadcasting, and I worked in the educational department, and I'm gonna date myself. So we had to mail our lesson plans to all the teachers, and like maybe 125 teachers across the country. And so every time there was an edit, every time there was something we had to do, we'd have to redo all these pamphlets, and I would have to mail them out. And then they said, we have this thing called the web. And, and they say, you could, post it and just email it to everybody. And I said, wow. And so, so I started learning about the web, and I was bothering my coworker to help me to make the updates because I didn't know what I was doing. And one day she said, we should take a class. And so I said, okay. And so we went to UVA, and they had this web development certification. So she came with me to register. I registered, and then she never took the class with me. I took the class by myself. And then I went from there. So.
Look at you now. Look at you now. Round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. Beulah, tell me your story.
So I'm going to continue the funny story here, okay? So for me, I was born into a family that really, really loved science. And when I say science, it's all natural sciences, biology majors. My dad's a doctor. My mom is a zoology major. My sister, veterinary science, it goes on. And there are very few exceptions. So for me, I decided to carry on the family tradition. And I loved science. But when I was studying, I was good at biology, and I loved physics equally. So for me, it was a battle whether I wanted to go into the medical field, because my dad and others, or whether I wanted to do something in technology leading with physics. For me, the choice was very easy, because I was scared of insects. I still am. I cannot go near even a dead insect. Even now. So thanks to my husband who takes care of it. But, so when it came time to make the decision and the career choice in my high school, I knew it was physics. So it was easy. I loved physics. I followed my passion, and that began the journey for me. And I've completed my degree in engineering with electronics and communication, telecommunication as my major. I met my husband when I was in India. He was a US citizen, so I got my green card, hopped on the plane, and I got to the US. And the biggest field here at that time was everybody was into MCPS and MCSC. So I just joined the bandwagon, and I told myself, okay, I'm here, I need referral, I'm new, I have my work permit, but no reference. So I joined the tech computer side of the world, and eventually ended up being more in IT. Found my passion with EDS, one of the largest companies in the world, next to IBM. And of course, started my journey there as a desktop engineer, went on to becoming a desktop team lead, and then the manager, problem manager, learned all the systems. And here I am now in DC government, all thanks to all the insects.
Yes, all the insects you don't like. The journey of your level up to your career is astonishing. And then how you had that kind of festered in your family already, and you just had to pick a path. And you just kind of went up there to your career. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you. What unique skills do women bring to the tech arena? And I want to open this up, whoever wants to answer. I think this is an important question because there are a lot of women who are in the tech field, but they don't know where their value lies, right? So what unique qualities, based on what your experiences are, do you feel as though a woman can provide into the tech arena?
So I personally feel, being around my whole life, just gravitating towards a diverse circle of women, and just women in general. I think besides integrity, in most cases. Emotional intelligence, empathy is something that I think are most women's strong points. And I think that's an important, those are important qualities to incorporate in the communications field, telecommunications field.
Beulah, what you think?
I feel like because women already, there are very few women in technology, and the fact that we are women in technology means that we did not conform to the normal pathway. So we decided to take a chance. We decided to kind of, leap in and take on new challenges that may come our way that is not traditional, meaning like we now need to compete in a different way. We are courageous that way. So we bring courage, we bring, different diverse thought. We can take on change because we are in the tech field, which constantly changes. So we bring, we embrace change, we are more adaptive. And like I said, because we can take challenges in a different way, we are, more embracing and bring different perspective to this field.
Marina?
Yeah, I think we, working with our male colleagues, we support each other in a way where I believe women have an ability to bring multiple perspectives, and which is what my other co-panelists talk about too. And I think that is somewhat biological as well, in that women are able to have more wider senses that they bring into decision making and planning and management.
You just said that women are exceptional. That's all you just said. I mean, pretty much. Yeah. Tanya, what do you think?
I want to say, usually women, we are multitaskers. We have to do a lot of roles, and, sometimes we're moms and daughters and, wives. And so we are very used to having to wear a lot of hats, and also having to communicate with different types of people at different levels. You speak one way to your child, you speak another way to, your grandmother or something like that. And sometimes that is needed in a group setting, your team. Some people need different types of communications. I also, Ivory, who's our director now, we work together at a department. We've worked together a few times, but at Department of Transportation, and we would have to do press releases. We would have to post them, and at first they would give us an hour, and then they would give us a half hour, and then there was like 10 minutes, and Ivory was the only person to stand up and say, wait a minute. If we want to do this and do it right and have integrity, we need time to do that. And so I think those are the things that we bring to the table.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Round of applause for that. So everyone knows this is Women's History Month. Raise your hands if you knew that. Hands up, hands up. Yes, yes. So according to a recent Forbes article, women make up more than half of the U.S. workforce, but only 27% of the U.S. tech jobs are held by women. That's not a lot. 27%, it's not a lot, right? What can be done, what do you think? What do you think can be done to attract and retain women in the tech field? And based on what we already discussed before, you mentioned some of the things, but kind of go into detail what you feel as though we can do to attain women into this field and lead and keep them here and bring them on as new technology, new tech women in the industry. Tanya, you want to start?
I think you have to have a culture that accepts all different types of diversity. I think bridging the gender gap, having women at the same level as men. I think having mentorships, mentorship. Am I saying the word right? Mentorship.
Yep, mentorships, absolutely.
Apprenticeships, internships, and also policies and benefits that support families and also having women at all different levels of technology and leadership and middle management and, you know, entry level. So.
Yes, that's so important to have the women to kind of take on every role within the industry, down to the technical, up into leadership. That's absolutely correct. Beulah, what do you think?
So I think that, DC is very good at, embracing women and, encouraging women in the work field. Something that we can always improve on things. We do a lot, but there's, always ways we can kind of go forward and make more improvements, if anything. And something that that came to my mind was highlighting women. We have women in different levels in DC government. So, and even in the, other sectors, generally speaking, and it's great to highlight that. And the reason I say that is because when you look at applying for a job, it's very comforting and very nice to know that there are many women in that particular organization, which automatically for me, it gives me the comfort feeling that, oh yeah, okay, there are many women here, which means I have a chance for growth. It helps me to kind of, progress, be listened to, and all that good stuff, just by knowing that there are many women in that particular organization or the agency. So it's important to highlight and emphasize that, so people looking from the outside can apply, try to feel, safe to really apply for this organization and be part of it. We need to give growth opportunities. So if you have talent, particularly if you're a leader who can influence, it's nice to identify talent and give room for growth. Something that we used to do, I'm kind of going off here, but I worked for EDS, and EDS at the corporate industry was unbelievably great at paving a pathway. When we joined as employees, one of the biggest things we had to do was create a pathway, 3-year, 5-year pathway, and kind of work with our supervisors on a regular basis to make sure we were showing progress. It's my life, it's my responsibility, but the organization just gives a little push where they can to kind of, make sure that we were achieving those goals. So having those, roadmaps and career pathways for women and men can really bring more women into this field.
Absolutely, and it probably will even out the gap that we have with the professional roles with women and men in tech. Juliana, what you think?
Well, to piggyback off of my co-panelist, correct, and kudos to OCTO, because I'm,
Kudos.
yes, because working here for so long, OCTO does an amazing job in equity, and always highlighting women in and doing the due diligence of actually following through with it. So in noticing and highlighting certain skills in development and offering opportunities. So that's definitely one. And in our own personal life, just highlighting women and picking up on certain strengths of certain areas, and just assisting with our own personal stories and experiences and sharing that amongst others. That your personal stories along with your own path is infectious, whether you realize it or not. Someone is watching you, and then give back. Once you go through everyone's journey is different, and so you highlight that, you talk about it, you express it, and you share it as much as possible on every platform, and celebrate everyone, and that goes for men and women. And thank you for our male counterparts that support us and encourage that. We are in a male. Yep. Thank you all. Yeah. I mean, for it to be the gatekeeping is becoming, is closing. However, for that to happen in the beginning, you see that in your own nieces, your daughters, your sisters, your mothers, and to recognize that and to encourage it, despite certain, counter arguments to that, is to be celebrated. So yeah, thank you all.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to add on to that, Juliana, about OCTO being the force in creating a pathway for females and women in tech. And because technology for women can be intimidating, because when you think about technology, you think about technical, right? You think about building and developing and coding. And there's another side to that. And I think there's a lot of value to women being in this career field. Just implementing other things, like you said, communication, which is huge to kind of, level out the balance between, our counterparts, right? Marina, did you get a chance to talk about this? Did you?
Everybody has covered.
I
want to
get your feedback. Give me something. Give me something
that people have talked about. I mean, a lot of the research on STEM indicates that girls up to the age of 11 are great at math. They have no fears, and then suddenly something happens between 11 to 13 that really impacts their path forward. And I don't know. There's a lot of research going on, and it hasn't been conclusive either way. But everything that the co-panelists have said, being able to mentor, being able to be out there, having supportive male colleagues like yourselves, and half of the participants here are male, and then understanding the flexibility that's needed in women's lives, just the physical facts of childbearing and all that, everything else that goes with it, and being able to have a work environment that supports that. I think that's really important. I think DC government has been great about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all of you work in tech, which is really fast-paced. It's changing daily, and there's other professions within that. I want to know how you guys deal with stress, and how does that impact your work, and what do you do, and give some tips of like how do you manage that, being a woman in tech and working with projects and your colleagues and stakeholders. How do you manage any type of stress levels that you may occur?
I picked up running. That's a huge thing.
I like to have a to-do list for everything. So if you take my phone and see, I literally have one for the whole year, one that comes down 6 months, 1 month, a week, and the daily. It's crazy, yes. And I literally put, when I say the yearly thing, it literally has everything that I intend to do for the year. Small, big, personal, work. There's a separate list for work and a separate list for my life. And I kind of, make sure that it gets updated periodically. I add, check it off. And I get the great feeling that when I see the checks, it's amazing. And that's a motivation in itself. So, but when I say the dailies, it comes down to 3 things only. I make sure that there are 3 things I do in a day. And that's the main thing. I may have other things. Obviously, we have a whole lot of things, and I never stop doing things. If I sit down, my girls will come to me and say, "Mom, are you okay?" So I'm always on the go, but there's always only 3 things that I need to finish. And as long as I'm done with that, I'm great. I also have learned to take time for myself. So I need my me time daily. Even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes, even if it's just walking alone or just sitting doing nothing, I like to kind of take that time just to be mindful, just to have that time for me. And that really is the battery that charges every time and keeps me going.
I have these pens.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, multicolor, all the greens for things that are done.
I'm so glad you mentioned self-care. It's so important that we take that time out of our busy lives to focus on ourselves and center ourselves and kind of recharge, like you said. Yeah, Marina, what you got?
I think celebrating accomplishments is important, and that I think that really is an accomplishment. Can just be this green check mark of finishing something out, and then also recognizing that appreciating failures too. So I think that's
Yeah. Juliana, what you think?
Great points. I just picked up a few. Also, so just adding a little more, variety is the spice of life. I do a little bit of everything. The bigger the stress, the bigger the reward. So if I had a stressful year, I'll reward myself with a vacation. If I have
We
a
like
stressful day, yeah, we love vacations. If I have a stressful day, I'll eat the food I like. Specifically, I'll choose a food I like. You know, it doesn't have to be high cost. You know, it could be a small reward. Something as simple as turning the lights off and silence in a room for 10 minutes, as someone mentioned, is a reward in itself sometimes. And definitely self-care in the sense, me personally, I like physical fitness, so I just kind of throw myself into that.
You look amazing, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It's all because of stress. So yes, I take my stress and I, put it into my physical activities, and I get rewarded that way. It could be hobbies. You like swimming, you just take that energy and you just put it into what you love to do, whatever it is. And I just think a variety of it is useful. Whatever your poison is or whatever your joy is, you just take that stress and just recycle it, make it good energy, and just put it in. Just dive into that.
I like that. I like that. Just reshape your energy and push it back out. I like that. Recycle your energy. Tanya.
I like to try to keep life balance. I think that is one of the hardest things to do. So my mind, body, and spirit. So exercising, and I try to eat right. I do keep in prayer. I also try to take some time for myself. I definitely try to reconnect with my family and friends when I know that I'm getting a little stressed out, and they know. Like, I give them a call, like, hey, and they're like, they're like, oh, what's going on? Or a lot of my family's in New Jersey. I just take a trip up, and we spend time with the kids and the family and do fun stuff.
Yeah. No, that's nice. That's nice. Beautiful. So we have the next generation of women. What is Gen Z is coming up? That's going. So we have the next generation of young women that will be in STEM programs, in the summer youth programs hosted by our guy Adrian. He left, but how can we attract more girls? And I think you kind of mentioned this, Marina. How can you attract more girls to tech opportunities within the district government? Knowing that we have a pathway, as we all know, we have a pathway to get into, women to get into technology. How do we kind of bring them in to the fold into government? Because I know there's private sectors, local government, but how do you get them into the DC government? What would you say? Beulah?
So for me, I believe that for students, particularly children, I didn't play with Barbie dolls. Sorry, guys. I'm not into dolls. I can play with them, but I don't. I was more into puzzles and things like that. Physics. I loved physics. So I think we should start early. I have an 11th grader. I have a 25-year-old and 11th grader now, with the other 17. And what I do realize is that exposure is very important. I love the word exposure, and I keep that in life in the forefront of my life, because the more you're exposed, the more you're knowledgeable, and the more you're knowledgeable, you can go and explore new things. You can try, you can get inspired to making a difference or being a difference. So for me, the exposure starts early. Something I like to do with my girls is give them a wide range of opportunity right from when they were young. So even if it is simple things, give them a chance at trying things like buying these electronic kits. You don't always give them dolls. My girls played with dolls. But at the same time, show them the puzzle, show them electronic things. Yeah, challenge them. And I say, because I worked in DC public schools too, and I know the curriculum there and everything in between, something you can start is start after when they are in 2nd grade. Start taking them to the tech area. Show them how the different things in class work. The smart boards, how they connect, how is the computer connected, how are people getting it. Get them interested at that very young age at their level. Buy circuit boards. Show them how the school bell rings, because that's what we used to do at home. So, you inspire them and you try. And again, have mentorship programs. If we have so many agencies in the district, like 80 or more, maybe. I know there are at least 80 or 79, if I'm mistaken. But every single thing is run by technology. whether that's cleaning the snow, whether that's fleet management, whether that's an OCTO. And I'm telling other agencies because we know OCTO is the IT agency. But every single day, every single thing that happens does not run without technology these days. So show the children right from when they are young at different levels, different stages, and as they progress forwards towards college and career and high school, give them an opportunity to see the different things in technology, because technology is just not computers. It's just not about coding. And give them the opportunity to try and find themselves being inspired.
Awesome. Beulah, exposing them as they're young into technology and kind of guiding them into that. I love that. I love that. Marina, what do you think?
I would agree, and maybe just take it a step in a different direction in terms of when exposing young kids or young adults. It would be good, or I think it works best if the exposure is manageable. So as you were saying, how does the switchboard work? How does the bell work? How does the radio work? So just really, because technology can be daunting, we're bringing somebody into OCTO, like PeopleSoft, Pass, Office 365, those are all just really daunting for a young person, but if they can understand like the basics of it, I think that goes a long way, because then I can relate, I can do it, and I can take it to the next level. That's all we need, just that confidence of, yep, I can do this.
Absolutely. Tanya, what are your ideas on that?
I have a 13-year-old, and so I try to engage her into STEM programs. So whenever they offer something at her school for camp or things like that, I sign her up for that. She was in Girl Scouts. They took them to the Microsoft store, and they were able to code and build like a robot. I brought her to work. I showed her what I did for Bring Your Children to Work Day, and she snored. But
She slept.
I took her around to everybody else's desk, and our designer Tamir, he designs wonderful work. He has wonderful work, and she said, I would like to do what he does. And I was like, okay. So just trying to expose them to different things.
That's awesome. She didn't want to do what you do. She want to do what your colleague do.
Exactly.
No, that's great. Giuliano?
Words are powerful, so we have to, with encouraging, or besides encouraging, also like removing some of their like gender tags, or restrictions rather as well. We without recognizing sometimes when we're fostering or shaping young adults, we may be regurgitating certain cultural or just antiquated ways or beliefs. And so when we're speaking, we have to speak with intention of encouraging and not limiting, more or less just kind of like, everybody has different strengths, everyone has different backgrounds, but yes, there are gender specific things that we have to adhere to, but in general, maybe when we're talking, we're highlighting more skills and strengths than we are limiting, like, well, most women go into this, or most ladies, because of your soft skills or what have you should lean into it. No, like, I have a fear of speaking in public. Surprise.
I didn't know.
It was a thing. So what did I do? I threw myself into it, I just kind of just said, okay, this is my fear, so instead of running the other way, I'll just run towards it. It's the truth. And I just needed to be around people to push that and to encourage that and to see other women, doing that. And I want to be like her. What's in between? How do I get there? So yeah, I mean, we all have the capacity to do that. If it's not our own children, it's, you could be a mentor. You could be, again, we all have multiple roles in just advocating that and speaking it and, marketing it, so.
Wonderful, wonderful. Give these wonderful ladies at the panel a round of applause, everyone. So I got a couple minutes I can take 2 questions from the audience, 2. Who has a question they want to ask? All right. How you doing, Shauna?
I'm good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal panel. Thank you for your moderation. You look amazing and you did amazing. So the question that I have for you all is, what would you say has been your greatest contribution or value add in the IT space to date?
That. Yeah, sure. There are many, okay? Many. Trust me. Everything you see in University of Maryland Department of Transportation has my signature on it, by the way, because I was their first IT director, and so much more. But for me, when asked that question, I have to reflect to 9/11. I was at NASDAQ at that time, EDS, the contractor at NASDAQ. And sure enough, I was at work when we saw the World Trade Center fall. And NASDAQ has a building directly in front of the building. So the building came down with the World Trade Center, and that's the headquarters. And if you remember right, US was shut down, the financial industry, NASDAQ came to a halt, and the president went and said, President of the United States, went and said that we will open 3 days later. So I was part of that team to kind of take and lead in sending every single thing. We had backups and servers at different locations. We did not have cloud at that time. There was no cloud technology. So we basically had to send crew who could analyze at ground zero what the need was and bring everything up from backup tapes. So we took of course it's NASDAQ, so we had a very robust disaster recovery plan. We had laptops and everything stashed away, but to set it up for all the high levels in Wall Street area, it had to happen in a single day. And so we went round the clock, 24 hours, my entire team. We slept in the office, took turns round the clock to make all that happen, and we brought the NASDAQ up again. So that was
You a boss. That's a boss move right there. Round of applause for that. Good question, Shauna. Thank you for that question. I got time for one more question from the audience. Y'all want to these panel, they just had this large discussion. I ain't got no questions? No questions? All right. Oh, okay, beautiful. Let's go. What's your name?
My name is Jasmine Thompson. I'm an intern here for OCTO. My question is, what would you suggest for someone of myself new to the IT field? What suggestions would you set for me to do, like to aim high? I'm already taking as many notes as I can, but I don't want to do too much note taking. I want to be able to find the answer, like being resourceful. So I start with my note taking, but I'm doing it in a better way, like maybe typing my notes up so they could be easy accessible. What would you suggest for me to do as just coming out and starting?
What I would suggest, what I've done personally, is I saw where I wanted to be, and I saw a person, for instance, and I tapped into them. You know, ask questions, just see people in their capacity, and ask as many questions as possible, and then gather your data, your information, kind of see what works for you personally, your interests and all, and lean into that. Lean into what you see in their experiences and talk to people. I mean, talking to people, like communication is wonderful. You can jump online, you can find out information, but talking to people and listening to their personal stories, and there is more than one way, there are more than 20 ways to get somewhere. It's not just, do it this way, get good grades, and go to college, and you figured it out. Not everyone has the same background and opportunities, and so sometimes you have to be unconventional and creative in your own ways. Throw your personality into it. Never be afraid to be yourself, and that's very important, and I wish someone told me that a long time ago. Be yourself and incorporate that in everything you do, and look at the leaders or the people around you. You're an OCTO, and I don't say this just to highlight us, but I always say I love to be the dumbest person in the room, because there's so much talent here and there's so many backgrounds. Honestly, one of the things that drew me to technology is that I saw that there were some of the smartest people in the world, and they would walk around in